Hello, welcome to Overtime. My Nicholas is Lamar Soutter. 6 D.C. public schools have been evacuated. It's been kind of a hectic day in D.C. Multiple bomb threats at all of these schools. It's actually the second day. Yesterday, if I understand it correctly, there was a single bomb threat at one school. Whatever this is appears to be escalating. It is, in fact, really a terrorism by another means. The whole point of terrorism is, the terrorists are always people who are vastly outnumbered, outgunned, outmanned. And so they have to sort of think outside the box, and they're trying to take down a country or achieve their goals by getting it to upend itself. And during 9/11 and the fallout from 9/11, there was a lot of that. The Patriot Act and the U.S. shredding its own constitution because, well, hey, face it, Al Qaeda is not going to beat us in a gunfight. So this really is a form of terrorism. Nobody's been injured. Somebody can and will be if this continues long enough. You can't keep mass evacuating large numbers of students without somebody suffering some consequences. But we're going to stay on that. We'll see what tomorrow brings. We also have now this one. This was who in a 5-4 decision. The Supreme Court has now this is important. The reports were that it has overturned a lower court ruling that had ruled that Alabama had violated the Voting Rights Act. Now, Alabama has gerrymandered a district. This has been a considerable problem for quite some time. In fact, a law had to be set up explicitly to stop this in a number of states. If I recall, Alabama was, in fact, one of them. And these restrictions have been reduced, and now there are over 122 new proposals across this country to attempt to increase the likelihood of a Republican victory by gerrymandering districts and trying to increase their representation in the House and Senate. Now, gerrymandering is where you take a district that is, however it's represented, mostly black, mostly white, and you rewrite it so that you cut out undesirable people or group all undesirable people together and all the desirable people in another category. It's been said it's much more like a senator picking his voters than the voters picking his senator. And what you can do is you could have a state that is 51% black, for example, 51% black. If it has to be brought up into 4 districts, you would expect close to 50-50 sort of representation, depending on how the districts are done. But if you do it creatively, you can put every single minority in one district, meaning they will get 1 vote, and all the remaining districts are a majority white, meaning that you get 3 votes from all white districts, 1 vote from an all black district, and poof, you have ostensibly a fair system. So that has repeatedly been challenged to mixed effects. So we've been having some luck with that recently. Now, there was a badly gerrymandered district, and it went before a which court? I don't know which court, but it went before a court in regards to violating the Voting Rights Act by, quote, diluting the power of black voters. That lower court said that this was in fact true, that it was gerrymandering and that it had violated their rights, and ordered Alabama to write a new map that was more fair. This old map would deny Democrats 1 House seat in the fall. A new map, if assuming people vote in the way that the demographics suggest they would, the new a fairer map would result in 1 extra Democratic seat and a much more accurate representation of the population. This went to the U.S. Supreme Court, which has done what they've done multiple times now. They kick the can down the road. Rather than actually make an opinion, they decided to not make an opinion and thereby make an opinion. They said that they would not actually rule on this until it came to them next year. It is on the docket. They will be getting this next year, and they will be deciding it at that point. So they said, we're not going to decide it now. Now, that would ostensibly, you'd think, mean that they're going to stay out of it. No, that's not what that meant. What that meant was that they decided to put a stay on the overturning of the order They put a stay on it, and now what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to check. I want to make sure that we had a brief hiccup in the stream, and I want to make sure we are broadcasting to the right place. I suspect we are. I checked that right before we went live, but I'm going to double check it. No, we are not broadcasting to the right place. So, oh, maybe we are. I don't know. This is. Yes, we are. Well, let it never be said that I knew what I was doing. The live chat was not coming up on my end, so I said, hey, must be that we're not broadcasting. We are. So, you know, I'm glad I didn't do something really embarrassing like say Mitch McConnell was the voice of reason. So, anyways, I assume most of you know this process. Chief Justice Roberts has continued his trend of voting with liberals and said, look, you know, we can't overturn what amounts to overturning the lower court decision. But to be fair, and just so you understand the nuance of this, the lower court decision has not been overturned. It has been stayed, meaning it cannot be implemented. If it can't be implemented, this means that the original map, which was declared illegal and a violation of rights, will be implemented. So it's not an overturn because it will be revisited next year, exactly 1 year too late. Hopefully the future will enjoy freedom. So, moving on. Despite Russian claims that they have no interest in invading Ukraine, and they've said repeatedly that they've had no interest in invading Ukraine, and then negotiated, saying there will be consequences if their demands regarding Ukraine aren't met. But those consequences won't be invading Ukraine because they're not interested in invading Ukraine. Did I just say invading? I'm a little tired. Invading Ukraine, and so on and so forth. Experts are now saying that they believe that an invasion is in fact imminent. We're keeping an eye on it. We'll go to breaking if and when it happens. It turns out it actually did happen on the 4th when Bloomberg News published a title saying Russia invades Ukraine. Shortly afterwards, and after checking their sources, they realized that Russia had not invaded Ukraine. Now, what happens is you prepare titles ahead of time. We do this on occasion. You know, we sit there and we prepared on the impeachment of Trump. We when they were doing the vote to impeach him, we could count. He was going to get he was going to be impeached. That was going to happen, and in fact, he was. So we already had the title done, and we started the show before the impeachment. We're like, okay, he's going to be impeached. It's basically in all certainty. They had loaded the title Russia invades Ukraine, and Bloomberg News, very reputable, very powerful news organization, published falsely Russia invades Ukraine. At any rate, the State Department has ordered an evacuation of all diplomats from Ukraine and has repositioned troops in the U.S. has repositioned troops in Europe to bolster the defense of allies in the region. Additional U.S. troops have also been deployed there. Ukraine Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Mylar has said that, however, there are insufficient Russian troops for a full-scale invasion, which is a sentiment echoed by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. So they are saying that a lot of this is just hype being put up by political interests in the West, which is odd because we are supporting them. I don't know if they're trying to appease their people. I don't know if they're trying to calm things down. I don't know if they're trying to appeal to Russia. But that's what they're saying. A Russian news agency, meanwhile, has confirmed that Russian officials are now claiming that the U.S. has been blackmailing Russia with Ukraine by attempting to militarize the former Soviet satellite state. Quote, everything happening in terms of, now this is a translation, so everything happening in terms of pumping Ukraine with equipment, ammunition, military hardware, including lethal weapons, is an attempt to put additional pressure on us. The White House, meanwhile, says that they are pursuing a two-track approach, which includes both deterrence against invasion and diplomacy. Meanwhile, Minnesota has activated the National Guard as unrest has grown over what is being described as an assassination. The killer of Amir Locke, a 22-year-old man, after police entered his apartment with a no-knock warrant and shot and killed him. Well, he died in the hospital. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey has announced a moratorium on no-knock warrants. However, this has done little to silence the protesters who are claiming too little too late, and the government representatives, including chief of police, essentially abandoned a press conference. You can find that on our Discord. It was not going well for them, so we're keeping an eye on the situation. Obviously, protests and where this goes, we don't know. Canadian police say that they've seized thousands of liters of fuel and removed oil tankers, and initiated crackdowns against the protest at the border over the COVID-19 restrictions. An injunction has barred people from sounding their horns in the city city downtown. That's Canada getting tough for you, baby. There's injunctions. You honk your horn in Canada, they'll tell you to stop. If you honk your horn in Canada a second time, they'll tell you to say stop again. Is Randolph here? I'm going to catch hell from Randolph if he's here, but nobody tell Randolph that joke. Let's see. They say that the Freedom Convoy has a large portions of it, the so-called Freedom Convoy, large portions of it have dissipated. However, there are reports that now they want to start up in the United States in, wait for it, Florida. Funding has been a bit of an issue. Their GoFundMe was seized and the assets frozen, millions of dollars in donations. So they moved to a Boston, Massachusetts donation company called Give, Send, Go. Or is it Give It, Send It, Go? I think that's it. Sorry, my bad. And they've been managing the funds, and they have been trying to amass more funds, and it looks like they are going to be attempting to raise new protests, this time somewhere inside the U.S., presumably Florida. That's what it looks like they're going to try and do. Again, we'll keep an eye on that. However, Give It, Send It, Go failed to accurately secure their data, and over I think it was over a terabyte of data stored in the Amazon Glacier S3 service was left unlocked. How this happened is a bit of a mystery. They all default to locked, and it actually takes considerable effort on the behalf of an administrator to unlock one, but someone in that donation service left it unlocked and appears to have exposed, inadvertently, I guess I'm told, passport, driver's license, and banking information of people who have supported the what is it, Freedom thing, Convoy, since February 4th. In the face of Omicron, COVID cases have surpassed 400 million worldwide on Wednesday. It took about 5 months to go from 200 million to 300 million, and just 1 month to go from 300 million to 400 million. The U.S. has had almost 1 million deaths, higher than any other country, from a pandemic that has killed nearly 6 million worldwide. Therefore, a number of states, such as New York, California, Connecticut, and Delaware, have decided that they're going to begin rolling back restrictions on activities, from social distancing to mask mandates, citing lower infections nationwide. Biden has signaled that he is going to have the United States government roll back a significant number of the COVID restrictions, including a number of outdoor mask mandates. New York will be allowing people to wear masks, to go without masks in restaurants, especially in outdoor locations. However, masks are still suggested, but it is going to be these requirements that are being rolled back, so it's not going to be enforceable. The thinking appears to be that, well, nobody was really following the mask mandates anyway, so that was I think that was that Abraham Lincoln? I think that was Lincoln. If at first you don't succeed, give up. Students at West Virginia High School are planning a protest after what they say was a forced evangelical sermon during the school day. Students were ushered into the auditorium for a Christian revival assembly where they were told to, quote, pray and beg Jesus for salvation. A Jewish student said that they felt uncomfortable and wanted to leave. They were, of course, forced to stay anyway, because freedom. Okay. A spokesman for the school says that this was actually supposed to be a voluntary event, which I guess makes it better having a revival in a public school. But the students, a number of students had signed up ahead of time, and the teachers were only supposed to bring in students who had signed up on a list for the sermon, but a miscommunication had all of the teachers bringing all of the students in the entire class. The Republican National Committee, by a majority vote of 168 members, censured Representatives Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. Okay. It's not that it's just I don't read well. I really don't read this. I work at it. On Friday, for their participation in the Congressional Oversight Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot. While they're not formally expelled from the Republican Party, this resolution all but does that. It condemns them, saying that the RNC will, quote, immediately cease any and all support of them as members of the Republican Party for their behavior, which has been destructive to the institution of the U.S. House of Representatives, the Republican Party, and to the Republic, and is inconsistent with the position of the conference. My initial reaction to this was, that's really sad. It's not true. I've read Democratic Party platforms in the past, and it seems to me that they've been completely consistent. Oh, I haven't read this one, but I've been watching how they're right. Cheney has integrity, so yeah, I can see their point. The resolution described them as aiding, quote, a democratic-led persecution of ordinary citizens engaged in legitimate political discourse. This controversial, you wouldn't think this shouldn't be controversial. It is. It was added, presumably at the last minute. Original drafts didn't have it, and it was challenged on the grounds that perhaps some of the people, maybe on January 6th, were not engaged in legitimate political discourse, especially considering an officer was crushed, multiple people have died, and they broke into the, it was Nancy Pelosi's wine, I guess, so, it's okay when it happens to a Democrat. I don't know. But they have since clarified and said that was not meant to, that Cheney had been interfering with and dragging numerous people into this investigation, not investigating the guilty, but by dragging in innocent people and interrogating them and asking them what they knew about the guilty, which is apparently unconstitutional and a violation of the party platform. If you work that Gordian knot out, let me know. We have a Discord. I'll be there and just say, Nick, this is what it means. I don't know. Cheney has responded by saying, quote, the leaders of the Republican Party have made themselves willing hostages to a man who admits he tried to overturn a presidential election and suggests he would pardon the January 6th defendants, some of whom have been charged with seditious conspiracy. I am a constitutional conservative, and I do not recognize those in my party who have abandoned the Constitution to embrace Donald Trump. History will be their judge. I will never stop fighting for our constitutional republic, no matter what. It should be noted that also just recently, one of the conspirators has been charged with attempted murder. Those charges have, and we get into that. That's a separate, but it's he was out on bond on other charges and has now been brought in on attempted murder charges in relation to the January 6th insurrection. So, it's like between insurrection, attempted murder, sedition. I know some people don't know, they're big words, but they strike me as reasonably serious. What was his name? Whoever wrote this is going to make me say this twice, I swear to God. Kinzinger. That's it. I think I read it. Replied, quote, I've been a member of the Republican Party long before Donald Trump entered the field. My values and core beliefs remain the same and have not wavered. I am a conservative who believes in truth. Truth? Sorry. Took me a second. Haven't heard a conservative utter that in a way that I believed in a little while. Freedom and upholding the Constitution of the United States, rather than focus their efforts on how to help the American people. My fellow Republicans have chosen to censure two lifelong members of their party for simply upholding their oaths of office. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell criticized the Republican. Excuse me. He did what? No, this can't be real. Jim, is just somebody tell me if the copy's right? No, this can't. Okay. If I read this and I find out somebody's trolling me, this can't be true. The Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell criticized the Republican National Committee's censure of the two Republican lawmakers, saying that the RNC should not single them out for holding views that are different from them. Okay, I'm sorry. I have a hard time saying. Okay. Should not single them out for holding differing views from the majority of the party. Quote, that's not the job of the RNC, Mitch McConnell said. Yeah, no. The job of the RNC is denying presidents their nominees for the Supreme Court. That's the job of the RNC. Quote, traditionally, the views of the National Party Committee is that we support all members of our party, regardless of national. This can't be McConnell. Are we sure this is right? Oh, he was doing it to gin up votes because he's trying to reframe the entire argument as one of security. Oh, that makes a lot more sense. Okay, now I believe he did it. Okay. The argument is that McConnell is more than anything really trying to unite the conservatives as much as possible. They've got an election coming up. Trump has thrown him under the bus. He probably has no love of Trump. Doesn't matter. He'll get into bed with anyone if it helps his agenda. But I hate to be cynical and just sit there. And after just doing a show saying we should give everyone the benefit of the doubt and listen to people we don't agree with, McConnell has gone about as far as anyone can to dissuade someone from the notion that, you can surgically remove someone's spirit, soul, and still have them live. Somebody suggested, how long could you live without a brain? The answer to that was, I think Ayn Rand lived to about 68 years old. Want to know how long someone can live without a heart? Well, when Mitch McConnell passes, we'll know. And last but not least, and actually no, because that story got slipped in through the So the Mitch McConnell, who has accused Trump of provoking the mob that attacked the Capitol, has reiterated his position that what happened on January 6th was, quote, a violent insurrection. That was intended to, quote, prevent the peaceful transfer of power after legitimately certified elections from one administration to the next. That's what it was. And he has reiterated his desire to see the committee complete its work unobstructed, and also suggested, hold on, oh, shoot, I think the thing cut off. There was the talking out of the other side of his mouth and bit, which we all know was coming, but I don't have it. Something along the lines of, I don't even remember. But yeah, Mitch McConnell. So before, I'm going to go check on the live chat, and we'll see what people have to say. But there is one thing that I wanted to, this was a drop in at the last minute, and everything was just sort of flying together, and I'm exhausted. So I apologize. I guess in time, we're a week early. We came a little early. I'm going to go retire for the evening and chillax. Big day tomorrow. Lots going on. But we did find one thing that I wanted to put in. I think you guys will appreciate this. But now, of course, I can't find it. So it's not always easy to get some of these things out. I got it. I brought it in. It was good. And now the system's not letting me bring it up. So what I may do actually is, you know what I might be able to do? No, I can't. Well, I have a problem. My biggest problem is this is Windows, and Porpoise will tell you. And I know Porpoise says she knows how to solve my Windows problems. I appreciate it. I'm not switching to Linux. Of course, I said, well, the problem is the software has to run on Windows because it uses DirectDraw. And then she's like, I can get around that. I was like, of course you can. Of course you can. All right. So, okay, well, there's half of what I needed. Let's figure this out. This was an interesting. So this story is coming out of Russia. And it pertains to a famous painting. And oh, dear Lord, I've got the first half of it. And it's not giving me the second half. The first half is a little useless without the second half. So let me just take one more minute to see if I can find just what it is I'm looking for. Oh, this is really going to fight with me today. isn't it? I just had it. And I don't have it anymore. So usually, sometimes you try to grab an image off the internet, it gives you a hard time. I was going to make a joke. I'm not going to go there. But we're able to usually pull images off. It's copyright's obviously an issue. We do it because if it's something that we need for the show, and if we're using it under fair use, we snag it. But in this case, the system had a hard time dealing with it. And now I can't find what I was looking for. I guess I snagged one of the images, and it's not letting me get the other one. And this is really worthless without the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try one more time to snag it. I should be checking out the live chat. How's the live chat doing? After nuclear Armageddon, cockroaches, and McConnell will still be... Yeah, that sounds about right. Apparently, I'm not the only one who has just like a mild dislike for him. So it was called 3. Oh, dear Lord. 3. There we go. All right. So now if I can find it, there it is. All right. We're going to try one more time. They're working real hard. Oh, and of course, this one's going to let me... Oh, this would have been easier the first time. Oh, well, far be it for me to ever do something right the first time. That's really not my MO. And if you're a fan of the show, you know that we kind of frown upon that. Competence by anybody on In Time just really kind of makes me look worse. So, okay, let's try. Oh, well, good. No, this is giving me problems now, which is exactly what it should be doing. All right. No, I don't want to. If you know what, if you'll just give me, I'll tell you what, you just give me the second one. I already got the first one. I'll be quite happy with you. And then I moved my mic. I want everyone to be able to hear me clearly, so I moved my mic. And where should I move it? Well, the place where the sound works best is right here. Most of the time, you guys can't see it, but I can't see my monitor. You'd think I'd have thought of that before going live. Not really. All right. Is this going to pull it? I don't want to take bets on whether or not this is going to pull it. It won't pull it. I got one more shot at this. If this doesn't work, I'll go into a corner and weep or something. Or get really creative and just say, hey, share a screen. And no, I'm not going to go that far for it. All right. So it looks like I'll be able to get it. I don't have it yet, but I think I kind of got it. So we'll put it in. So let me figure out, try to remember where this happened. This was in Russia. Let's see here. This was, okay, it's Anne Leprosky's Three Figures painting. It was being shown at the Yeltsin Center in Russia. It is part of their exhibition on, what is it? Abstract. It's an abstract exhibitionist. So let's, hold on, let's put this up here. There we go. That's almost worthless. Let's put that up. There it is. So that's the painting. It's valuable. It's been insured to at least, I think it was, they said 11 million, if I remember correctly. So that's the painting in question that we're going to be discussing today. I think it was this morning. I'm not quite sure, but recently they came to, they opened up the museum and they found this. And this is not a joke. This is not, that's what they found. Someone took a ballpoint pen and I guess improved on them. They didn't like so there are two eyes that have been drawn into the painting. Yeah, that's the original. And that's what they found. So somebody took a ballpoint pen and just trolled, drew some eyes into the $1 million painting. They decided to try to find out who it was, and they noted to their dismay it was a security guard. It was his first day on the job. They politely, I guess, asked him why he did it. He answered, quote, "I was bored." He is facing now multiple criminal penalties, and the penalty, as it turns out, for defacing public artwork of this value is 1 million rubles, which I assume translates to somewhere about 30 or 40 cents, and 1 year hard labor. So there you go. Don't give a guard a ballpoint pen when he's bored in a museum. That's it. I'm going to quickly go check on the live chat, and we'll see where everyone is. You've been very patient. Sorry, I'm just tired, doing 1 million miles a minute here, but it looks like the eyes of boredom. So Yeah. Oh dear Lord. This does get into, though. There's another thing, which was the article that discussed this, said multi-million-dollar painting destroyed. It's not destroyed. So if you read the article, one of the things they say is that it's been examined, and they say that they can actually remove the ink without damaging the underlying painting, and that by the time they're done with the restoration, which I guess is like going to take a year or something, by the time they're done with the restoration, they're expecting that there will have been no damage whatsoever to the painting. The net effect will be it'll be back to where it was, which in my book doesn't constitute destroyed. So once again, clickbait headlines. Yeah, I get it. It gets views, but the painting was not destroyed. It, by their own accounting, wasn't even damaged. Anyways, so let's see where we are. Yeah, when we make the news, it's either for football or racism. Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you, I get grumpy. I get grumpy, and I name call. Admittedly, I think usually when I name call, it's not as bad as we've all seen. But and I do feel bad hitting Florida, Texas, Alabama, Arkansas, a number of one or two states with whom I have objections. It's the vast majority of the people there, the overwhelming majority of the people there, just like you and me, they're just trying to get through their lives, and they think they know better than everyone else, because I think I know better than everyone else, and everyone thinks they know better than everyone else. And sometimes they're idiots. Sometimes they're too busy. Sometimes they're too bothered. Sometimes they just got to get their kids out the door and whatever. So it's sort of like, I've noticed some consistent difficulties with certain states, but it's like, what are you going to do? They have some legit complaints against us. So, at any rate, I try to, I feel bad. Bregwin is always so understanding of the fact that I keep hitting her state, and Zandring's always a sport about the fact that I'm not very complimentary about conservatives, and I think he knows, I hope he knows that when I say conservatives, I don't mean conservatives. I mean people who call themselves conservatives and have usurped the RNC and Republican Party. If they share much in common with him, I haven't seen it. So let's see. Speaking of Alabama, Mitch McConnell is from Athens, Alabama. Well, I saw, you see the face and you realize, you wouldn't be surprised if he was like from Athens, like ancient Greek. But apparently, has anyone tried like a wooden stake? Asking for a friend. All right. Moratorium on. So I guess the honking was, and the prime minister had to be moved. Oh, and I did miss one. So the other thing is, Boris Johnson has basically said that he's going to accelerate the rollback of the COVID restrictions in the UK. So the US is not the only one that's revoking. So let me find that. I'm wondering too. So it's like I do the writing of these things on one machine, and then they're supposed to copy over. But I've noticed when they copy over, they now seem to be copying over one draft short. So if I write the thing, save it, and I say, "Ooh, I find some more material," or save it again, the first draft, that newest save doesn't copy over. So I've had this problem a couple of times. But let me see if I can find this. So there's Biden. Oh yeah. So let's see. Boris Johnson, the UK Prime Minister, is accelerating plans to end COVID isolation rules as investigations into the Downing Street lockdown parties broaden, and Sweden has declared that the pandemic is over. Sweden did what? I'm starting to lose confidence in the script. Sweden declared the pandemic. Has Sweden? They can add, right? I mean, last I heard, they have a really good education system. Pandemic is over, folks. Thank you so much. I have really enjoyed doing In Time. It's been the pleasure of my life. The largest health crisis of our generation of the last 100 years is over. Sweden says so. I probably don't even need to bother coming back on. Thank you, Sweden. You've just gone down. Sweden, you are now a contender for Alabama, Texas, Kentucky. You're there. Yeah. Johnson looks like is doing anything at this point he can to save his political skin. He's in trouble for the lockdown parties. He had parties, at least one party now, maybe more, where he invited, people, most of them work there. So it's just turning the work environment into a party. completely legit, right? Because it was work, but it was, and then he denied that he did it, and now everyone's like, okay, it's COVID, and he's partying, and everyone else is following the restrictions. So he's in a lot of trouble, and they really hate the restrictions over there. I think it's on the grounds that it's probably harder to party if you're dead, but it's hard to party if you're wearing masks too. So if you take off the masks, at least you get 12 days before you die. Something like that. I don't know. I suspect that's it. I think it's, I think, to be fair, it looks like he's, to be fair, as I'm about to trash him, I think he's trying to distract him. I think the fatigue with all of the mandates is reaching sort of a critical mass across the world. When Sweden says the pandemic's over, you've got a problem. And that's not a joke. I mean, that's Sweden. They're not. I mean, just wow. So he is saying basically he's going to end all the mandates. I think it's sort of this, hey, I shall usher in the new, and then you'll forget that I had parties and lied about them, which is to be fair. I mean, for us, it was a president was like having an affair and having sex and doing all this stuff in the White House, and he's just basically having cocktail parties. So the Brits have a slightly different standard. But at any rate, so that is, I think, I've really lost. Oh, and Porpoise dropped. Oh, well, thank you so much. So that's the link to me personally. You can also, support the show, which we always really appreciate. Come find us in the Discord. Talk to us about this. Talk to us about everything else. And again, I apologize, kind of going through this a little quick. This is supposed to be a reasonably quick show anyway, but been doing a lot of good stuff, which is good. We've been getting a lot done, but it's been a lot of work. And like, you know what? One or two things. Listen, I'm going to fall asleep in about 45 minutes. I can do that live during the show, or I can do that in my bed with the night lights off. I think everybody here, most people here would appreciate the former and not the latter. So thank you to those of you who helped accelerate the show. And so that's where we are. Endemic. That's a good question. Titan was talking about the endemic, and endemic, I still sometimes misunderstand what endemic means, but the long and the short of it is just because everybody's got it doesn't mean it's endemic. We sort of think, okay, once everybody's had it once or whatever, it's endemic. No, endemic means it sort of becomes a part of the natural background noise. And as Fauci described it, when it's endemic, you have a consistent number of infections regularly, and they're not spiking up, they're not going down, and you're never going to get rid of them. It's just every year. So the flu is endemic. Not everybody always gets the flu, but you're not getting rid of it. But you're not seeing huge spikes like this. You're not seeing it doesn't matter how many people have gotten it. It's still a pandemic. It's still affecting the entire planet. It's still affecting everyone. The numbers are still going up astronomically. And even if everybody's gotten it, it can still be a pandemic for a very, very long time. So I'm a layman when it comes to this. I'm usually a reasonably well-educated layman, and I still get it wrong. So it's not easy for people to always get. Titans explained it to me more than once. We had Homozygote on. He explained it. So 3 or 4 more explanations, and it will probably get through the thick noggin of mine. But nonetheless, that's a very shorthand. We sort of think once everybody's had it, it's now endemic. No. So it works differently like that. I do think that I think that's what Sweden was making the argument for. They're wrong. Fauci has said they're wrong. The CDC has said they're wrong. The CDC has been saying, by the way, we need to maintain a certain number of guidelines, and things are going to get worse. The numbers have started to go down. The numbers are down this month from last month, but we're still on this spike, right? We're still higher than any other spike, and the numbers in this spike, the numbers today, are higher than they've ever been. They're not higher than they were last month, but again, we're going down. We're still on the highest spike we've ever had, and today's numbers, if you exclude this spike that we just had, highest we've ever seen. So, and what you've noticed, if you've looked on a map, is it goes up, down, up, down, up, down. That seems to happen reasonably naturally no matter what we do. I'm not a scientist, but if we pull back the vast majority of mandates, I have, especially as it's going down, given the lag on this, I have a sneaking suspicion what the next spike is going to look like and roughly when it's going to hit. I'm a little beyond being outraged about it. There's no point in being outraged about it, and the best you can do is Try to educate people, continue the conversation. It's a long haul for everybody on all fronts, and maybe make fun of Sweden once or twice when you're not making fun of Alabama, Texas, Kentucky, and so on. Anyways, I think that about covers it. Thank you all for a well-educated lemming. I hope he's not talking about me, but I have a sneaking suspicion. All right, cocktail parties during lockdown. Yeah, that's what he was doing, and it was, yeah. I mean, it's just. I remember in high school, there was they wanted to do like an AV club. They didn't have one and people were talking. Maybe they was asking if I wanted to join. I was like, not really, not my bag, believe it or not. But oh God, they had some guy running it, and he was doing terrible. So I said, oh, could you join it? And I said, okay, sure. And so I joined, and then before you know it, I'm the head of the thing. I said, I really don't want to do this. I said, well, that's one reason you make a very good head of this, and that's a bastardization of sort of what the colloquially they say that in the movie, the why the best leaders of Rome are the ones who didn't want to do it. If you're a leader, the reality is to do it well, you have to take the lead on the tough choices and on the consequences of your own choices. And if there's any chance for you to avoid those consequences, you have to make sure you don't fucking do that. And he was sitting there saying, we're all going to lock down, we're all going to do it. And I had COVID and I got through it, so we can all go through it, but we're going to do this right. And then he's having cocktail parties. Frankly, his political career should have ended a very long fucking time ago. He is Trump light, but that you can put Trump in his title there, and he's more savvy than he gets credit for. There was a great biography of him, and they interviewed a whole bunch of people. Said, "Oh yeah, the thing with the hair, that's totally on purpose. He used to have pretty good hair, and then he realized that when he never made it, and it was just as cray as possible. Everyone started to genuinely underestimate him because he thought he was a fool, and then he started being a lot more successful. It's like it can't be. Yep, that's it. That's exactly what he's doing. So, if they get rid of him now, it's late. But and who knows? I don't know who's going to replace him. I could look that up, but. Work? No, I don't think so. But whoever replaces him, hopefully, is going to do a decent job. Johnson's just, yeah. All right. I don't think I'm saying anything anyone doesn't know. So that is it. Yeah, like I said, Titan is so. Come talk to Titan on our Discord. Now, one of the things that he told me is that you can ping him anytime, day or night. He did give me his phone number, so I'll be dropping that on the Discord. So if you have any questions for Titan, now he lives in Norway. It is 7 hours ahead of us. So while it seems like a really bad time if you're in the U.S. to call it dead of night, give him a call. He loves being helpful, loves answering questions. And if you're not sure if you heard the answer right, keep asking him. He loves it when you repeat questions and just keep going, wait, what was that? Are you sure? He lives for this. So we'll put his number out on the Discord. Please join us on our Discord. Give Titan a really hard time. Again, title of the new show. And I'll be around. I'll see. I mean, who knows? I may sleep for like 20 minutes and then wake up and not be able to go back to bed again for 48 hours. We'll see. But I'll certainly be in, if not at some point later tonight, then certainly tomorrow. We've got some good stuff planned. We'll talk to you guys about it on the Discord. Thank you for joining us. If you like this stream, please like and subscribe, share. It always really does help. That's why we always beg for it. Nobody sits here and says, you know what? I'd really like to go on YouTube and beg for people to hit that like button. I don't like to do it. Nobody likes to do it. Kind of humiliating, to be quite honest, but it really helps, and we like to bring these shows to you. So if you like content creators, support them. That's what keeps them out there. And if I'm not one of them, fine, don't support me. Go out and support someone you do like, because these things can go away, and we've all seen it. So go support those content creators, and if I'm one of the lucky bastards you do like, show some love. I appreciate it. Come into the Discord, join us, and I will catch up with you guys all later.